Now, for a look at Meta's mission to support Black-owned businesses, please welcome Ciara, Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, entrepreneur, and philanthropist; Sheryl Sandberg, Chief Operating Officer, Meta; and interviewer Maneet Ahuja, Senior Editor, Forbes.
We've got quite a powerhouse duo with us here this morning. Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Meta, and Ciara, Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Thank you both for joining us in this special conversation for our inaugural Next 1000 Summit in celebration of the most intrepid founders and business owners from across the country. You both have been big supporters of our Next 1000 franchise since day one, and it's in part because of your steadfast commitment to supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs through countless efforts and initiatives. So Sheryl, we've spoken a lot over my time here about the responsibility companies like Meta have to support small businesses through the pandemic, especially those that are the hardest hit. Part of that responsibility entails sharing real-time data. Meta released its 8th Global State of Small Business report that shed a sobering light on how minority-owned SMBs have been faring. Can you share a few details on the findings?
Absolutely. Let me start, Maneet, by thanking you for your commitment to small business. The work you do and how much you care comes through in everything you do. I want to thank Ciara for sharing a stage with me. I'm actually visiting Seattle today from this chair. I did a small business roundtable, so it's perfect. But also, as I told Ciara in our little pre-talk, my kids, I have 5 of them, think I'm the least cool person in the world. And like, I got to say I was doing this with her and I was like cool for a day. So I'm super grateful to both of you. But yes, let's talk about small business and our small business report. We've done 8 of them, 8 reports. The first was done in May 2020. So this is a COVID era thing we've been doing because COVID is a health crisis. It's a gender crisis. It's an equality crisis. And it is a crisis for small business. Now, the one we're releasing right now fielded in mid-July. So the Delta variant was just starting to kick up. And here's what we know. Overall, fewer small businesses are closed, 18%, down from 24% February. And that's good. Right? 24% to 18% is positive direction, but 18% is still 18%.
That's still a huge number.
It's a huge number. And women and people of color owned SMBs are the hardest hit. 20% of those led by women compared to 16% of men. SMBs led by people of color are in the US are 50% more likely than white owned SMBs to either be closed, forced to lay off worker, or have lower sales. 40% of people-owned color-led SMBs are anticipating cash flow problems versus 29% of white-led SMBs. And 50% of people of color-led SMBs are confident they can stay open versus 70% of white SMBs. And for ones SMBs led in the Black community, only 43% feel they can stay open. So we are still in a crisis. It is a crisis that hits women and businesses owned by people of color the most, which unfortunately is not surprising.
And because of that, Meta is working on various initiatives, right? And some of those are part of the reason why you both are here today, correct?
Ciara, absolutely.
Yeah. So Ciara, I know we're going to get a little bit into that. But you've launched multiple businesses during the pandemic, most recently Dare to Roam brand, as well as the House of LR&C. Can you share what the experience has been like starting a business during COVID, that personal firsthand experience and your philosophy behind these brands?
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible journey and process. You know, I'm learning just like everyone else, especially, you know, this being the beginning for me, running businesses of this kind. You know, it's been a blessing to have people like Christine Day help us run the House of LR&C for both Russell and I, because she knows what she's doing and she's able to help us find all the cushion we need, considering all the beaten up that all of our businesses are going through during this time. So it's definitely been a lot of learning curves in the process. And then also, as you mentioned, with Dare to Roam, my backpack company, which I'm excited about. You know, it's kind of a crazy time to be launching anything, as we all know. It's super challenging, but What's really important, I think, the thread throughout everything that I've been able to do is impact. Impact has been at the forefront of it all. And so that's what really what's been giving me the drive to, to keep on going, and why I'm excited and passionate about what we're doing, because everything that we do, we give back 3% of our sales, and we give it to our Why Not You Foundation. And, it's helping us to continue on that great mission to impact. And so I say that, having that factor and all of it is what really has been giving us a drive. And of course, I think the thing is that while the world is, going through this change, we can't let the world change us. And it's about adjusting. Life still goes on. We still have to provide. Russ and I, we talked about it with the House of LRNC, like, what do we do? Me, him, and Christine sat down. It's like, we have this great vision. Our vision is to have big impact on people, low impact on the planet. Like, we know our goals and we're focused on that. And sustainability is at the core of it. So if there's not a time, there's a time. This is a time now to be conscious of the world, to be conscious of what we're contributing to the world. And it also gives us a creative outlet. I think we have to be creative in this process. I think it's important not to lose sight that, if you're fortunate enough to do what you love doing and it gives you some kind of creative release, you got to do it. Even if you may not be in the season where everything is like, normal and, easy. I think every good thing, every great thing is going to have a challenge of some kind. And we're in like the most challenging time of it all. Right. But staying driven because of the mission to impact through it all. And, we unfortunately, just like a lot of other people, when COVID happened, we started our business before COVID happened. So you can't just completely stop it, but you have to adjust. And so just like everyone else, we're adjusting in the process, and we're staying focused on the mission. And we know, and I really believe we're going to get through this time. I'm a big person on faith. And I'm a believer that if we can just stay the course, be disciplined, you have to be really disciplined in a season like this. I believe that it will all work itself out. And the gains will be great when we come out of it. You see this where, you get through that funky spot, and then the day when it's over, it's like skyrockets, but because you've laid the foundation. So that's my wish. And I think we have to all think that way.
Yeah, that's such a great
I awkwardly got out of my chair, but I don't want to show off and make everyone jealous, but I have one of her backpacks.
Yay!
Check it out.
Where's my backpack, Ciara? I thought we were friends.
Maneet, I got you covered, Maneet, okay? I got you.
I went online and bought this, but I just wanted to share because it's just an amazing mission and an amazing product. So
thank you so much.
You can have put it out there.
Okay. What'd you say, Sheryl?
I was saying to everyone, you can have one too.
Yes, exactly. But what's really sweet about that, to that point though, like as I mentioned about the just being conscious, is that in the backpacks there's this antimicrobial technology that we created, and that's to make you more germ free. It's germ proof. So when our kids go to school and they come back home, and from this crazy time we're living in, less germs carried. So thanks for that, Sheryl. I want everybody to dare to roam, but again, just being mindful of the time we're living in. Like, I think when you're creating something during this time, you have to be mindful.
So Sheryl, on the topic of being mindful, you've spoken recently about the role larger companies like Meta have in the ongoing recovery. As Ciara was speaking to, we're still in the midst of recovering from this pandemic, and hopefully we're coming out and seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, and the responsibility that larger companies have to small business. What steps has Meta taken towards helping in the recovery? We've spoken about it before, but it seems like every time we talk, there are significant advancements. So I'd love our audience to hear a little bit more about some of the more recent efforts that the company has been focused on.
I mean, look, small businesses create the majority of job growth in our economy. And think about that. Small businesses are also the lifeblood of our communities. Now, large businesses, we believe, have a responsibility to help small businesses. And we've seen all along that small businesses, particularly those who are Black-owned, Latinx-owned, got hit much more rigorously. So we launched a whole bunch of programs. We've launched a COVID grant program. We launched, after the George Floyd, tragic death of George Floyd and the racial reckoning, we launched racial justice grants. We also were dedicated to training Black and Latinx SMBs. But right now we're doing our second year of one of my favorite programs, which is called Buy Black Friday. And so a lot of people say they want to support Black small businesses, but how do you know what is a Black owned small business, particularly when it's online? You can't see anyone in person. I think a lot of people know what Black Friday is, that day after Thanksgiving coming up where people start their shopping. Well, two of the Meta employees came up with an idea last year
Mhm.
to do buy Black Friday. And they had a hackathon at the company. And the idea was to leverage the power of Facebook, of Instagram, of our platforms to let people know what those small businesses that were Black owned were. And so we just kicked off the program last week. People can tune in to the live Facebook show. I am publishing my own Buy Black Friday gift guide. And Ciara, I'm proud to announce right now that this backpack is in my Buy Black Friday gift guide.
Yay.
And I'm also really excited that Ciara has agreed to launch her own Buy Black Friday gift guide. So I've picked a bunch of products that I love for people to buy. I know you're picking a bunch of products that you love for people to buy.
Mhm.
And it's just a new way that we can help support Black owned small businesses through this time.
So Ciara, can you tell us a little bit about why this partnership and mission was so critical to you? I know you're working on a million things right now, right? But this partnership really spoke to you. So I'd love the audience to hear a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I love what Sheryl and the team are doing, and I think it's brilliant that they thought of this idea. It really is about giving these businesses platforms. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of a recognition that will go a long way for the brands. And so I want to encourage you to not just buy this holiday, but to buy Black. I am all for this mission. And I also created, as Sheryl said, my own Black Friday gift guide. And it's going to be available on Facebook shop November 22nd. And I was able to highlight some really cool brands. There's one brand called Beautiful Curly Me that's created by this really cute mom and daughter duo. They create these really adorable, relatable dolls and hair accessories to inspire confidence in girls of color. And
Wow.
I just love, being able to support the mission of brands like this. And again, being able to, share some of my selections, and you'll be able to find all the kind of gifts that you would need for the holiday. And that was my mission when I was curating the list. And again, just being able to support brands, like being able to support Black owned businesses, especially being a Black owner, owning businesses and building them. I know what support means, right? And understanding what Sheryl's been speaking about, it's important that we give as many brands as possible the opportunity and they sell as many products as possible. I think that's the mission. Let's get these products off the shelves. Let's support, let's change the narrative. Let's shift these numbers. When Sheryl speaks about these numbers, obviously being a Black woman and a Black business owner, I feel that, and it's like,
it is the power to shift entire communities, right?
100%. And so it's my dream and, vision that, we're going to look out and look ahead, and it won't be, the disparity will no longer be, it will no longer exist. Like that's the great, that's my vision and my wish and my goal, to be able to use my platform as much as I can to make that difference and to raise the bar, and for all of us to be able to rise together. I think that's what's important. So, what's also cool is that Meta Elevate is also going to nominate 10 Black owned businesses for marketing mentorship. And also each business will receive $10,000 in Meta ad credits and advertising creative support. So that's also critical, right? That advertising support is huge. And so I just thought it was an amazing campaign, and I was truly excited to join Sheryl and team and to promote this, right? And let people know there's opportunity to grow your businesses and to keep your faith. And let's highlight and give these brands an opportunity to keep on growing and get the support they need.
Yeah, and I mean, that's so smart. I mean, speaking to hundreds of small business owners all throughout the pandemic, and the key differentiator between the ones that really were successful and the ones that struggled was the ability to have like marketing tools and digitization. I think it was like a 4,000% difference in revenue, one recent report alluded to. And what I love so much about this partnership also is that it's not about one day, Black Friday, it's about the entire holiday season. So, one day is not going to move the needle, and maybe one season won't, but it's a great movement to start bridging that gap, as you said. And so, Sheryl, much of the data shows the top need for small businesses remains access to cash flow. And we've been talking about this consistently, and part of that comes from, government resources. Meta recently announced an interesting way the company is helping minority businesses with this need. Can you share an update on how the program is going?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this program, even though it sounds like the most administrative thing in the world. I think it really helps. So this was the brainchild of another one of the great Meta employees, a man named Jason. He heads our supplier diversity program. So we're a big company. We buy a lot of stuff. We launched a public commitment to say we're going to buy from diverse suppliers. So he's working on that. And what he noticed about a year ago is that many of our diverse suppliers were really struggling with cash flow. They do work for us and other companies. They have to pay for the goods, pay for the people to do it. And then they put out invoices, and those invoices don't get paid for not giving them the cash flow to regenerate and grow. So he came up with a pilot program where we bought the invoices from diverse suppliers. We gave them the cash. We charge a fee only to cover the cost of the transaction. We make absolutely no money. The supplier gets the money immediately. They can pay their bills, continue to grow. And then we own the invoice and we go out and get paid. Mm-hmm. Now, after he did this with a few diverse suppliers, he pitched the idea to us, and it was so successful that we expanded it to tens of thousands of SMBs, and we funded it with $100 million.
Oh, wow.
Partnering.
I didn't know that it was that large, because I'd heard about the program, but I didn't know that it was at such a large scale.
Well, I think the last time you and I spoke, we were in that pilot phase and it wasn't at such a large scale. And so the pilot worked. And so we funded it with $100 million. We're partnering with 6 organizations that support diverse SMBs, owners who are women, people of color, veterans, LGBTQ+, and people with disabilities. And we've only been open for the real business post-pilot for a month. We've already funded $6 million in invoices, from coffee roasters to construction to personal care brands. And again, small businesses need actual help, and that means actual cash. So I'm super proud of Jason for coming up with this and excited to see what's possible.
Yeah, and another thing that really speaks to me is that you're really getting to the nuts and bolts of what the pain points are for SMBs, right? We can't, more help may be coming with the administration or governmental programs, but that's really not in a small business owner's control, right? Or other grants that they may or may not get. But being able to pay their bills on a monthly basis, those are things that really help keep the lights on. And so, I think that that's a great movement in the right direction. So, Ciara, we know the pandemic has been especially hard on Black-owned small businesses, but also on women. This is something Sheryl and I have spoken a lot about with her Lean In reports and various other reports that have come out that really speak to the just disparity that the toll the pandemic has taken on women. Many moms are doing double shift by working full-time and taking care of the kids. Any advice for how you've balanced being a mother, a wife, and a business owner of multiple businesses?
I will say, being a mom and entrepreneur, being a mom alone is a job within itself, and so I salute on my moms out there that do just that. I think people underestimate exactly how much goes into just that job alone. And then when you take pursuing your, business, endeavors and goals, and that's all the things that I've been fortunate enough to do during this time requires so much work and requires so much attention. And sometimes things do feel a little unbalanced, just to be honest, and right. I think if you know that and, kind of have that outlook, then it allows you to power through because it's worth it. And I think what's important for me as a mom is that when my kids look at me and they see the grind, they know that my mom grinded for that. My mom went after what she believed in and she made it happen. And then hopefully that energy pours into them and they have that same attitude and same drive and desire, because, in life, I think anything you want to do, big or small, in my case, I have a lot of businesses, but even if you don't have a lot of businesses, you're going to still have to work hard for it. And so I think that's just the reality of life, right? So I think it's important to keep that in perspective and, stay focused on your mission. Like for me, I honestly feel more accomplished when I'm powering through all the things that I want to do. Something about that is satisfying for me. Something about me getting up every day and fighting hard and pumping hard through it all. We're really blessed that we are having success in a lot of our businesses and the House of LRNC and Dare to Roam and our fragrance and all these things. But I'll tell you, there's a lot on the back end that's not so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I embrace those challenges, and we say in our house, sometimes we say we welcome adversity, meaning when it gets tough, it's like, we're going to run towards it, like, bring it on, let's go. And I think you have to have that mentality, and especially being a mom, it's a balancing act. Like I also want to be balanced in my love life with my husband. Like I want to make sure I'm keeping it sexy there too. So, it's a balancing act across the board. It's organized chaos. But I think the greatest thing I would encourage everyone to do when you're, especially you're a woman, like making sure you're doing what you love. They say when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I will say that gives me the drive that I need to wake up every day with a smile on my face, even when it's tough. I find my smile at some point in time throughout the day because I'm doing what I love. And I have to sometimes pause and just take a deep breath and be like, even in the midst of the funkiness, like it's all good, right? Because I am doing what I love. And this is a part of it. Like sometimes you forget that in the beautiful journey of it all, it's sometimes a little ugly in the process. Like it's sometimes a little imperfect. Sometimes you want to go a little crazy. Like you want to be like, ah, and that's okay. Like that's a part of it. So I think if we keep that in perspective, we'll, us mamas and us women, and that have goals, like we'll keep pumping and we'll keep on like getting better and, and we'll keep achieving our goals, right? Just putting one foot forward each day is an accomplishment within itself, So, that's what I would have to say to that.
Yeah, no, that's incredible advice. And I'm just listening to it and I'm thinking about everything on my to-do list as a mom, as a journalist, as the stories I'm working on, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, okay, if Ciara says to just keep on the path, I can do it. So I know we're almost out of time, but Sheryl, I know this audience is very interested to learn a little bit more about Facebook is now Meta. Can you give us a little insight on what the metaverse is and why you're pivoting the company towards it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a big change. I've been introducing myself as the, COO of Meta just for about a week. But I think it's exciting. What we believe the metaverse will be is the next computing platform, which is the successor to the mobile internet. Now, it's really hard to imagine that, but I'm 52 years old. And I remember the first time I made a mobile phone call. It was like a phone without a cord. And I was like, oh my God, how does this work? Ciara, that must make me seem, and Maneet, just so crazy old to you. But
no, I remember it too. I was like in middle school or
I experienced a phone with the cord.
I was well out of middle school when that happened. But I couldn't really picture that. And we believe the metaverse is there's going to be a set of virtual spaces where you create, you explore, you connect. And just like we couldn't have imagined this Zoom call when I was growing up, that I could see you if we're not in the same place, well, without being, recorded on film, but live, I think there's a whole thing out there where people are going to be friends and work and play and learn and shop and create. And it's going to be immersive and more meaningful. Now, we don't think the metaverse will be a single product that one company can build alone, but it's something that will come together with so many companies, orgs, and partners. And so we changed our name to Meta to reflect where we're going, because our mission has always been about building community and bringing people together. And now our focus is going to be still building Facebook, still building Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, all the products people use to share and connect today, but also the platforms that we will use to share and connect in a more immersive way in the future. I can't wait. One day, this conversation with the three of us, we would feel like we are together. I can see you, Ciara. I can see you, Maneet, but I don't feel like I'm in the same room as you. But one day we will. And
I got an Oculus headset for Christmas last year, and me and my husband, it was a perfect COVID gift, right? Because in the midst of that, my brother-in-law climbed Everest, and so we got to experience that in Oculus, and it is mind-blowing. So that's my little taste of it. But as a last follow-up, because I know we're out of time, for this audience, what does it mean for small businesses that have limited resources? How can the metaverse help them?
Well, I think right now the metaverse is a future opportunity, but it's an important one, right? A lot of the tools we think are still 5 to 10 years out. Some of the things you do that are kind of 2D today will be grown to apply to the metaverse. So what do you want to do if you're a small business? You got to get yourself online. You got to get the basic functionality where you have a Facebook presence, an Instagram shop, and then you'll be able to turn that into a virtual space in the future. What really we care about in all of this is democratizing access. Think about starting a business before the web. You had to get a loan. You had to get an actual store. That was expensive and discriminated against the same people who were historically discriminated against: women, people of color, women of color who face both gender and race challenges and barriers. All of that was harder. starting an online company, still harder, but easier than it was. And we believe the future, if we build the tools correctly, will be even easier.
Sheryl, Ciara, thank you both so much for joining us for our inaugural Next 1000 Summit. Your support since day one, both of you as judges, has been so critical to our mission, helping highlight 1,000 entrepreneurs from across the country. We are so grateful.
Aw, so sweet. Thank you for having us.
I'm so grateful to you.
Thanks, guys. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you soon.
ladies. Okay, bye.